Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on that Magnum over there. Today, the big goal today is to fix the rust, which is conveniently on the other side, so you can't see it. But if you've seen the other videos, you know the Magnum has a big rust hole on the driver's side, right in the rear fender well. I'm about to go take a trip to a couple auto parts stores, get all the stuff we need to fix it. Luckily, that color silver, you can get in like any auto parts store. Mopar Silver, you can get paint match spray cans of it. It's so easy to get. So that we're gonna get easy. Get the Bondo, get all the stuff we need, sandpapers and all that. I'm gonna get a grinding disc for my grinder, just to grind off the rust. And yeah, so we're gonna take a trip now, get all those parts, and hopefully it's a beautiful day to do it today. We're gonna get this rust repaired and get it looking good again. All right, after a little trip to AutoZone later, we've got everything we need. Let's get home and get started. All right, so first thing I want to do is take this touch-up pen and that touch-up spray can there and touch up some of these spots. The scrapes on the bumper, I'm just gonna spray that with that. Sorry about the road noise. Obviously, if you know by now, I work right on the road. So yeah, big scrapes on the bumper. I want to spray those. I'm not gonna like prep them or anything. It's the bottom of the bumper, so it just needs to get sprayed so it's not looking black anymore. The ones that are actually up here though, invisible, I'm gonna take the Duplicolor pen to them. There's a couple of rock chips and stuff I want to touch up with that. Spots on the bumper, little scrapes like that on the rear. Obviously, you know this bumper got tapped, and this rust is later. That's the rust hole we're gonna be fixing today. Not a hole. That's why it's going to be easy to fix, it's just rust. So yeah, let's quickly touch up some of these spots, and then I actually have to run some more errands, and then later today I'm going to start with the rust repair, hopefully get to at least the primered stage today, and paint it later this week. Alright, you can see now we touched up just those areas that weren't looking too good around here. The bumper, I just sprayed, since it was underneath I didn't put clear coat on or anything. You can see I got a little bit of overspray on like that plastic piece down there, but that's nothing anyone will see, and it won't look out of the ordinary necessarily, unlike the scratches that were on it that made it look like it was abused and just hit a bunch of parking curbs and all that. And then I did touch up paint in some of the spots. Actually, I didn't do that. I should do that now. There was a piece missing there. I just painted that. I put silver on that to make it look like it wasn't missing, like the little end piece. Got the spot that was scuffed up on the bumper there. Scuffs around the edges of the bumper. Over here as well. Yeah, it looks good. At least in my opinion, I think it does. The big thing is just the parking scratches being gone makes it look so much better. Alright, so here's a more in-depth look of what we're going to be using today. I've got the grinding wheel for my angle grinder. We've got the paints, obviously the touch-up pen. Well, we're not going to really be using the touch-up pen anymore, but the actual perfect match paint color for my car. Undercoating for the wheel wells, because we're going to try to get all the rust that's actually under the wheel liner too, if there is any. Wet sandpaper, I have some other ones. I just needed to get some more 2500 for when we're blending after we paint. And we have two lighter grit sandpapers for whatever we need to smooth out from sanding with that, and body patches in case we create any holes, as well as the Bondo glass coat and then glazing putty to fill any little pinholes. Everyone does this in a different way. I mean, there are wrong ways to do it, there's right ways. The way we're doing it's going to be right. I mean, we're going to make sure that's flush with the body, but we're also not breaking the bank. Like, some people will get a whole lineup of sandpapers for this. You can get it smooth with just these two grits are the main grits to get it smooth, and I've got the grinding wheel for the grinder, so that helps save a couple bucks and keep it all in budget. Alright, so step one, obviously I took off the rear wheel so I can get this wheel liner off, because I bet you this rust extends to underneath the fender, and obviously we do have this lip we got to clean up a little bit right in here too. So the space of work is going to be around here, and I'm probably going to open up the door and trash bag it so no dust gets inside, obviously, but I don't know, at the same time I might just, I don't know what I want to do for that actually. We're so close to the door, I can easily, well, it's locked, but I can easily open up the door, cut a trash bag to fit around the door so dust doesn't get inside, but still work without having to paint the door at all, which would be very nice. And the same thing could be done for the gas cap. I could just take this gas cap off. It's 2 Allen keys and really takes down my workspace. But we'll see about that. We'll get to that when I need to. We're obviously not going to take the gas cap off until we're ready to paint. For now, we just want to get this wheel liner off. Also, I'm looking, these back brakes are not too bad. These rotors are in good shape. They're not really pitted up at all. I mean, they feel smooth still. The front ones, you can feel the ridges in them. The pads have a bit of meat on them still too. So I'm looking at the suspension back here too, and everything looks pretty good. So I still got to finish that front suspension that I've been working on. I got the upper ball joint still, and that'll probably be in this video as well. But I think I know now that I don't really need to do anything suspension-wise or brake-wise back here. So probably in this video I'll end up putting the upper ball joints on as well as front brakes, pads and rotors and all that. Then you can tell, I mean, the wheels back here are a lot less brake dust than the front ones. So we'll do that, and it should be good to go and stop vibrating as it's braking on pressure. Another thing I'm doing today, I'm replacing these Hemi badges. This one you can see looks fine, but on the other side all the black is faded out. So I got the newer Ram Hemi badges that also say 5.7 liter. I'll just line it up there, bam. That's gonna look pretty dang good because it's about the same size as these door guards. So just gonna get this glue off using, this is called a banana wheel if you don't know what it is. It takes off glue. And then I think these come with their own adhesive, thank God. If not, I've got a bottle of it over there. Then I'm getting back to that fender liner. It's not being fun taking it out. I got most of the tabs out, apart from these on this and down there. But I'll get that out, and it's actually looking like the rain's coming a lot sooner, so I don't know how much rust repair we're gonna get done today. Alright, so these badges make a heck of a difference. Look at that. It lines up perfectly with the door guard, or door trim, I guess you can say. Oh my gosh, that just looks so good. Nice big Hemi, 5.7 liter. I got them lined up pretty good on both sides. Oh yeah. Yep, that fits. I don't know why they didn't use these badges at the time. I mean, they didn't have these badges on any cars in 2006. Now they put them on the Ram 1500s, and that's about all they put these on. I don't think they put these on the Chargers. The Chargers still get the small Hemi badges that this had. As long as it's not like a Scat Pack or anything, which it's kind of rare just to find a normal Hemi Charger anymore. They all get the Scat Pack treatment, which I'm not complaining, they're good cars. But anyway, yeah, so that just does a little bit to change the look of this car, make it look a lot nicer. I'm really excited to get this thing cleaned. That'll be next week though. Anyway, still trying to get this wheel liner off, try to get it grinded down, at least get a coat of primer on before this rain hits. Alright, there's that fender well out. I think I'm honestly probably just going to leave it sitting out in the rain because it's dirty as can be. Probably just hanging on the fence here, like it washed off. Because look at that, that's disgusting. But that is what creates all that rust, because that sits up under this lip here, and it's not going to want to focus in, but there you go. There's the rust. See, it can actually, it took off some of the metal right there. Yeah, it's clean underneath it though. Yeah, a lot better than what this would look like if there was no fender well. These would get rotted out. You can see the fuel line going to the tank down there. Really simplistic system, but yep, we're here to do this now. And yeah, you can see it took off some paint already. But that's our job now. So I'm gonna figure out what I want to do. It's still not rain, so I'm gonna get started. Probably gonna open up this door like I said, and just put a trash bag around that, so I don't have to worry about hitting that. I'm not too worried about scuffing the gas cap while I'm grinding, at least. Just the door's really close to that area, so I want that to be open, so there's no way I mess up the good paint on the door. Alright, well you can see I got my grinder out, I put that attachment on it. We're just gonna get started. I started a little spot right there already. We'll take this whole section out. Well, we're not grinding it out, but we're not grinding it off. We're grinding off the rust. We're not grinding out the panel, cutting and welding or doing any of that. This is all just Bondo. This will be all Bondo when I'm done, but you can see I taped up the door. So yeah, I'm gonna just grind down the rust here. It has started to rain. but you know, I might just have to spray some primer. Hope for the best, just so it doesn't rust over again. And then paint obviously will be another day. Alright, well you can see we got that ground down. It ended up going past, there's a hole, this is all a hole. That's actually seam sealer right there. You can see it just, it's rubber that comes off. All the rust though has been ground down to metal. I still gotta do a little bit more in here, it's still not perfect. You can see it also made a huge mess. And you can also see it's raining. I was really hoping this rain would hold off. It's not looking like it's going to be stopping anytime soon. I was going to try to grind down some rust on the inside, but if you can see, there isn't any. It's only on the outside here, it's not underneath the fender because there's a whole nother piece of metal under there that you can see behind the hole. So I'm still going to spray some rust encapsulator up under there, and now I got to figure out what I'm going to do for now, this bare metal that's getting rained on, because God forbid the weather ever works on my side. Alright, well the rain has passed and you can see what happened to that bare metal in that time of rain. It all got rusty again, so we're going to hit it quickly once more with the grinder, and then basically I want to get it bondoed today and primed, and we'll get it painted. I've got about an hour of light left, so we'll get that done. We'll get it painted tomorrow or some other day this week. So now we got to take one of these body patches, and you can see there, that's a hole, and you've got this foam stuff underneath too, which will be fun to deal with. But yeah, we're taking the body patches, we're going to put them in that hole, and that'll make it so when I put the Bondo on, it's got a flat surface to form to, and I can then sand that down and make it look flush with the body lines, and then obviously paint. And before anyone complains, I did go back and I hand sanded some of the edges and all that. It's not going to be perfect. Not all the rust is coming out here. You can see all of this metal underneath here is still diseased. If I want to ground all this down, I could. The best way to do this would be to just cut this out and put a new panel in. Obviously, that'll stop the rust from ever coming back. This has ground down most of the rust, and it'll take a while for it to come back, if it even comes back at all. But for now, it's going to look great, and it's going to stop it from spreading, which is the big thing. And also the fact that this is all brown under here, and that the metal underneath there is rusty still, makes it look like not complete. That metal is underneath the skin. I mean, that's going to be rusty on pretty much any car up here is going to have rust on that metal. If I was doing a full restoration, if this was a car that I was dumping thousands and thousands of dollars into to make factory new again, yeah, we'd be cutting out all the rust and putting in new panels, but that's, you know, tens of thousands of dollars of work, and this isn't a car that's getting a full restoration because it's in pretty good shape already, and it's just not of that status yet to warrant being worth a full restoration. So just getting the next best thing, and it will look brand new when done. Alright, so there's that in there. I was about to go mix the Bondo together, but I just remembered this is still kind of wet, so I need to try to dry this off so the Bondo can actually adhere. And then I'll start doing that. Alright, so we got this panel ready. We got some Bondo mix, the cream hardener and the actual Bondo glasses mixed up together in this. We're going to apply some of this first, sand it down, and then we've got the glazing spot putty right there, get you a better view, to finish up any pinholes and make it smooth. Alright, we gotta let that dry now, and then we can get to sanding, preferably before the sun is finished going down. Alright, you can see it's the next day here. I did not get enough time last night to finish this up, but I'm starting to sand out the Bondo, make it smooth again. We've run into one problem here. A little crack right there. So I gotta, and there's a couple divots still, and my Bondo work wasn't perfect, so I'm gonna put another like light coat of the normal Bondo over it. And then we gotta get to the skim coat of the filling putty before we can even paint. We still have not painted anything yet. You can see all the dust that sanding this stuff down creates. We got the air compressor hooked up out here, little sander, and I painted this, or I put some clear coat on this wheel for the Trailblazer because it was really dull compared to the other wheels, and I'm planning on actually getting a new set of wheels for this thing, but not yet, so I want it to look pretty good until then. Alright, we got the spot putty on now. I'm going to hand sand this, not use the little jitterbug over here. But yeah, hand sand this with 320, I believe this is, get it nice and smooth, and then we're ready for paint. Alright, finally, now it's the end of the day again. I've got this all set up for primer. I'm going to shoot that tonight, get the primer on there, let it dry overnight, and then tomorrow I will shoot the base coat and maybe even clear. If I get lucky, we'll see. Alright, so you see is now the next and probably going to be one of the final days here that we're working. We got the primer on. You can kind of see some of the areas of flaws. Mainly it's just going to be this spot right here where this body line doesn't keep going because there's literally just a lack of metal on the lip. This body line's alright. It's a little iffy in here because that's where we were missing metal, obviously. But you step back. It looks complete, it looks full. We're going to get the silver paint on today, the base coat, now that we got primer. We're just going to basically move back our blend lines. For blending, what I've been doing, I've been taking rolls of paper. You can see for this one I set them up kind of like that. So then instead of getting harsh tape lines, which in some cases you would do that, like if I was just painting and ending somewhere, like if I wanted to paint this whole quarter panel but not the bumper, I'd tape off the bumper to stop paint from getting on it. But since I am blending this quarter, I need to roll the paper to get, so I don't get harsh tape lines and instead get blending lines, which I will then wet sand after I get this base coat sprayed on. So yeah, I'm going to get it set up for a base coat now. It says it should take about 3 layers, so I'll do give or take 3 layers of base coat and then clear coat either today, maybe if I have time. I gotta get to work still, or tomorrow, and then I'll be wet sanding. The only thing about tomorrow is supposed to rain, so I gotta watch out. Clear coat needs time to set, and then I'd be wet sanding this weekend most likely. Alright, well that is all sanded down and ready. We got everything masked now, apart from like the door skin. It's not too windy. I don't think we're going to get much overspray over here. If we do, it's all plastic. It could come off pretty easily. Yeah, so no overspray should be getting on this at all, apart from the area we're spraying, of course. And yeah, it should look pretty dang good when we're done. I just double checked to make sure it's the right color. It is. So now we just spray and pray. Alright, so that's coat 1. It's a pretty tricky color to spray on the primer because with just the dusting coat, it doesn't really look like a difference in primer, but you can still see there's some primer showing. So we're gonna let this dry, go on with coat 2 then, and it'll be a bit more of a denser coat than this first one, and then by coat 3 it'll be a final coat and should be as thick as it gets. Alright, all 3 of the base coats are done. You can see it's a nice matte finish right now. I've got the clear coat ready. I currently have it sitting in some hot water because it flows better and creates less orange peel when it's hot, if you didn't know that. But yeah, we've got this all ready. It looks pretty good. Only a couple noticeable flaws. A couple divots right there. A couple right there. Pretty typical stuff for a quick rust repair job. And obviously down here, I did not fill in those pieces. If I kept messing around with those, I could have very well filled them in. That's a really tough spot to work, and when you're out here looking at it, you're not going to see that. So I fixed what is going to be visible, and this will look a hell of a lot better than the big rust bubble that was there. Anyway, I'm going to get to spraying this and praying again. Hopefully there's not too much clear coat. Obviously, no matter what, I'm going to have to do some wet sanding and blending, and that's probably what's going to be next in this video here, because I'm done after 3 coats of this. Look at that. That is exciting. That is all the coats of clear coat, and you can see it matches up with the shininess level. It's got a little bit of orange peel in it. Like I said, I got to wet sand and buff it. But yeah, that's looking good. Way better than with rust. I'm happy with that work. And the lines still line up. Look there. Like I said, there's that little bit of a divot there. But pretty dang good. Looks better the further you get back away, but you know, that's how it is with bodywork. 10-foot job. But I'm happy with it. I'm gonna get to work now. Let this dry and cure today. Try to get any dirt and stuff off the car so it doesn't fly into it. Yeah, I'm gonna let that cure today while I'm at work. Get home tonight. I'm probably gonna drop this bag down and over it because it's supposed to rain tonight. I don't want any rain getting on it. But for now, it's good the way it is to continue drying like this because it's not supposed to rain until like late tonight, even though there are some clouds in the sky. But anyway, it is what it is. And then yeah, this weekend I'm gonna wet sand it and put that wheel well liner back in, and then this job is officially done. All right, well, you can see the painting is done. It blends pretty nicely with the rest of the car. Well, it doesn't blend yet. I still gotta do the wet sanding and buffing. That'll be Saturday, like I said. But look at that, color match is great. I mean, it's kind of messed up because the orange is right here reflecting, but color match is pretty good. Matches the whole rest of the car. And the paint feels good right now. Not really too tacky. Not too much orange peel, to be honest. So I'm not gonna have to wet sand too much for the orange peel factor. Just for the obvious lines you see there and there. So once Saturday comes, I'll get that wet sanding done, and this thing will be looking pretty dang good. Like I said, just that one little spot that you notice in the body lines. But other than that, it looks good. I'm happy with it. So there we go. The final finished product here. Just got done wet sanding it, as you see there. I just did 2000 grit, obviously sponge, and I put some soap in the water. That's always a good thing for lubrication. Yeah, it turned out pretty good. One thing I'm noticing after sanding it, it's not a perfect blend. A, I guess my line was a little too straight there. The paper wasn't rolled enough. And B, that's a different color. It's hard to tell, like especially when you're just walking by and you're not right up on it. It's pretty hard to tell. But yeah, that's a whole different shade of silver there. And luckily this one follows the body line, so it's really hard to tell. But this one, it's easy to tell if you look at it at the right angle. I don't know. I'm not stressing about it. In the end, we stopped the rust. It looks really good. I mean, if you can't complain with that angle right there. Look at that car. That's a pretty car. I don't care about the little bit of, you know, shoddy body work that I did back here. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. It's a lot cheaper than taking it to a body shop, though. I will give it that. And I had a good time doing it. And it looks good for one of my first rust repair attempts. This looks pretty good. Just that lip right there is always going to bug me until I sell this car. Well, a little update on the Magnum here. As you can see, we are doing ball joints today, or trying to. This is what you gotta get through to do the ball joints. That's the lower. There's the upper with the upper control arm. Both, I think, need to be done, and it just started raining, so that's lovely. Wasn't supposed to rain until later today. So you have to take off the tie rod, and right there, which didn't want to come off. The brake rotor didn't want to come off. These brakes are garbage, but I don't even know if I'm going to do them, because that's a lot of money, and it still needs tires. They're not too bad to the point where you can't drive it. They're just not good. It's snowing now, too. Man, this weather's garbage. Yesterday was Easter, by the way, and it's snowing now. Welcome to Pennsylvania, everyone. So yeah. I got the upper control arm out, but now to actually do it, I have to take the entire strut out. So essentially I'm taking the entire suspension apart on both sides, and I haven't even looked at the rear. Since it's jacked up right now, we can kind of see. I mean, the rear is a lot simpler. You have a couple sway bar and links. And you got that strut, so really the only thing that can go wrong and cause noise are those struts, and I don't think they're bad back there. But wow, those are two lower ball joints. I didn't even buy upper ball joints because I didn't know if it needed it or not, but I guess I'm gonna go be buying that today as well. Alright, so you can see the difference between the old and the new here. that entire boot is just blown out. A lot of play in that, no play in the new one. I'm really determining whether or not I want to do this upper one. The boot is a little worn, not much play in it though. I'm gonna see how much suspension clunking we have. That's an easier one to take off, so if I gotta come back in and do it again to take it apart, I'll do it. But I just want to get this one in, see how it feels. As you can see, you got to take off the lower like valence here in the fender liner to get into that bolt. At least on the Magnums. I don't know about the Chargers and the 300s. And yeah, you got to take everything else off to get here. So, pop this one in, put it back together, and do the same on the other side. Alright, there we go. All buttoned up, everything's back together. ABS wires plugged back in. We got the 18mm. So if anyone's trying to do this themselves, you're gonna need to take an 18mm off there, 21mm there on the tie rod end, and a 20. Well, this is a 22. The original was a 21 for the ball joint, and it all comes down. I did not do the knuckle joint because that one's good, and I'm pretty sure the ball joint up here is still good. It's got a little tear in the boot, but it still moves fine, and there's no like play in it. So I'm gonna put this wheel on, drop the car down, take it for a spin, see how it rides, see how much of an alignment it might need now that I've done some suspension work. And big thing, if it's not clunking like it was, or is clunking less, I don't think I'm gonna do the other side. That was a hell of a job on this side, and this side wasn't even broken like this ball joint was. So if it's not necessary, I'll go get my, you know, 88 bucks back from that, and, you know, save myself a lot of time. So working smarter, not harder. If I was keeping this car, I would have probably fixed a lot of things. I would have probably done brakes all around. I still might do brakes all around. I need to see how much these tires are gonna run me. Because I gotta be in the green still when I sell this car, and whoever buys it next can do some of the other things like brakes and all that. They'll inspect it when they come to buy it and see that. I do want good tires on it though, because that's a really big safety concern. And the clunking, as long as the clunking's away, you know, the suspension's still pretty good. It's not bouncy or harsh. Alright, it's late and dark now. I ended up taking on a ride. I did both sides because I noticed the other side had failed just as much. Ended up getting caught in the rain. It was not a fun time, but I got the job done. It clunks less now. I took it for a drive. It doesn't clunk when the suspension goes down, only when it comes up, and mainly on the driver's side, and that is because that upper ball joint was fucked on this side. The other side, it's not as bad. I'm probably going to replace it in pairs just to do the job right. And hopefully once I do that, the clunk should be gone. I don't know when I'm going to get to that. That and tires is probably going to be a couple weeks from now, but it's going to happen, and then I can finally get some inspection stickers on it, and this thing's driving good. Alright, like I said, there the Magnum is. We are going to get some exhaust clips. Here, I don't know if I showed the exhaust or not. It's a Magnum Flow. Essentially, it's a catback. It just connects to the drop pipe from the motor, and basically it's like the stock exhaust, but just has less mufflers and resonators and more resonators, so gives it a bit more of a good sound. So Silva will get me started up. I think it's dirty. I've been driving it a bit. I mean, obviously I drove it up here. Sam, you want to hold the camera? I'm going to go start it up. Yeah, so not crazy loud, but it's very classy. It gets loud when you get on it, and give it some gas, or downshifts are amazing. We'll take it for a ride now, and you guys can hear the exhaust then. Other things I've done to it. Oh well, you guys saw I got the clips and the new cup holders in, and I picked up the new vents yesterday. We'll put those in soon. But yeah, so let's go take a ride on this beautiful, hot, it's like almost 80 degrees today, but beautiful day. Alright, so you can kind of hear, we're just rolling around campus right now, got the windows down. It's got a nice low end verbal, and at idle you can hear it. Yep. Yeah, you can hear it at idle.
Let's go to the right. So you're gonna go off to the left over here,
okay. Yeah.
And you can drop us off whenever you want over there.
Can I go in through this one?
Yeah.
We should go up to Ralston. We should go to the ice cream place.
Alright, where?
So it's drop me off right here. A little more.